Hey, I'm Josh, and today we're going to talk about my brand new lens that I got. I'm going to unbox it, and I'm also going to talk about how I selected this beautiful 200mm telephoto lens from Canon. So hopefully when you decide you want to buy a new lens, you can follow this process and find the perfect lens for you. Because I'm not going to lie, I did a ridiculous amount of research to make sure I picked out the perfect lens, and I've got some great tips for you. I also took this lens out shooting for a couple hours yesterday. I'll be talking about all the shots that I took, how I took them, why I took them, etc. at the end of the video. Stay tuned. So starting off, I'm just going to open this and let's see what's in here. No, I'm just kidding. I've already opened it. The telephoto lens is right here. I hope that was anticlimactic for you. It's a beautiful, beautiful lens. It's 200mm prime, which means you can't zoom in. It's 2.8, which is super fast, which means the aperture can get very large, let in a lot of light, you can get beautiful bokeh with it. And I'll get into that all in a second. So first, let's just see what else is in the box. I've already torn into this because I walked to B&H Photo, I picked it up, and I spent the rest of the day shooting with it because I was just too excited. So things that this comes with, you've got the lens hood, warranty card, this little carrying case. And the interesting thing about the carrying case is that it seems like it'd be awesome, but when do you use a carrying case? I have a camera backpack. Cool bags that you somehow acquire are really hard to throw away because they're so cool, but you actually never use them. A Canon DVD that I'll probably never open. And that's it. That's everything that's in this box. So okay, let's talk about how I actually came to choose this lens, because it's not an easy process, especially because it's a big purchase. Like when you make a decision to buy a lens, you're picking something that you're probably going to be using for at least 5, 10, who knows how many years. I mean, hopefully I'll be using this lens for the rest of my life. I don't know. How did I choose this beautiful, beautiful lens? Take a look at it, by the way. So gorgeous. Well, I knew that I wanted a telephoto lens because my lens collection was becoming very complete. I started with a fisheye and my stock lens, the 18-55. Then I got a wide angle, a 24-105 zoom lens, and I had the range covered very nicely from fisheye to decent zoom, 105mm, but I knew that wasn't the most zoom. I mean, 200mm, I've now doubled my range of photography, which opens up an entire new world of stuff. And I love to shoot nature stuff. I love going to national parks and shooting. So this all made perfect sense to me. I knew that I needed a telephoto lens. I started off by going on to Canon's website, and I looked through all of their lenses and all their telephotos. And then I went to B&H's website and looked at all of their telephoto lenses. So I knew not just the Canon brand, but also all brands of lenses. And put in the same thing, I just wanted a telephoto lens that fits on a Canon and is under X amount of dollars, because you're gonna have budget constraints probably. Hopefully not, I guess. But if you do have budget constraints like me, you wanted a lot of bang for your buck. So I started looking into all this, and after I got it down to like 5 or 6 lenses that I knew were quality lenses, I started to do further research on them. And then I went onto this website called, it's thedigitalpicture.com. They have reviews on so many lenses, and they're super in-depth and really helpful. Not too long, quick, but still in depth. They let you know all the pros and the cons of each lens. After I'd done a bunch of reading on all these lenses, and I also went to a bunch of forums and blogs and Reddits where people were discussing all these options as well, because people are probably making the same decision you're also making with similar budgets and specifications that they're looking for. So you can find people having these conversations that you want to have already. Super helpful. Just do a little bit of Googling and you'll find stuff. This website, The Digital Picture, was probably the most helpful site for me. So I figured out that I really wanted a Canon lens because I trust the L series, and I knew that they were quality lenses. So I had it down to 3 potential lenses. There was the 200 fixed, the one I went for. Then there was, by the way, fixed and prime, same thing, different word. Then there was the Canon 70-200 f4, which was sort of within my price range, but I wasn't sure about it because f4 is not that low of an aperture number. And I really like shooting stuff handheld and at night. And my 24-105 f4 lens, I love it. It's great during the day, but I wish that I could get a shallower depth of field sometimes. And then there was the 70-200mm f2.8, which is the same aperture as this telephoto lens. And the main downside of that, everyone loves that lens. It's a beautiful lens, and a lot of people were saying on these websites that this is the lens you dream of having. Like, it's just perfect and sharp and quality, all that stuff. But it's crazy expensive, and I wasn't sure if I was ready for that. I don't think I could afford that. I really was not that interested in that crazy of a lens. And you know what? The biggest thing for me was also that it was super heavy. It was actually twice the weight of this lens right here. And I think about why I wanted a telephoto lens, and a lot of it is for my national park trips when I go on these big adventures, these big hikes. And when I'm doing a 10-mile hike up a mountain, I don't want to have any extra weight that I don't need. So I figured if I could shave down some weight and also save $1,000, that would be a great option for me. So I went with the 200mm fixed. And another article that really helped me choose the prime fixed lens over the zoom lenses is this website. It's Ken Rockwell, I believe. He has this one blog post, and he talks about why prime lenses are great. I'll put a link to this article down below, and I'll also put a link to all the stuff I'm talking about in my equipment down below. Anyway, the main gist of this article is that prime lenses help you focus in the photo more and not just get lazy and zoom. Instead, you actually have to move around and think about composition, and that really sold me on the prime lens. And I also had this realization this summer when I was in Yellowstone National Park, and I was taking some photos with my DSLR, and at 1 or 2 points I'd also snap a photo on my iPhone. And I realized sometimes those iPhone photos actually came out better. And I think the reason why is because when you have an iPhone, you have everything automatic, including the zoom. You just have to snap the photo, and you purely are thinking about composition, and that's it. Whereas when you have all of the manual settings and all of the zoom options, you're thinking about so many things, and composition might not be given as much attention as you would otherwise. So I figured with a prime lens, not only could I save a lot of money, I could get a faster option, because let's be honest, the 70-200 f2.8 was out of my league, and the f4 is not as fast. I really just wanted a lens that was high quality, affordable, lightweight, and good for what I wanted to shoot. That's another huge thing to think about, is why you're getting the lens. So for me, it's a lot of landscape stuff that I'm really interested in, but I also like shooting portraits, and I also shoot a lot of skate photos. So having a fast lens for handheld portraits and skate photos is super important. And the shallow depth of field also looks beautiful for portraits, and there's really nice bokeh with the shallow depth of field. I wasn't willing to go f4, even for the flexibility of the zoom, and the weight of the zoom lens was a huge downside to me. So I'm very happy with this decision. As far as attributes go, this lens has autofocus and manual focus, and I found that autofocus is pretty fast. This lens also has 2 different modes. There's 1.5 meters to infinity and 3.5 meters to infinity. And what that means is when you're actually shooting in autofocus, if you have it in 1.5 meters, it's gonna look for stuff that's super close by and also stuff that's super far away, which is helpful if you're shooting a wide range of stuff, but it'll take longer because it has to look at more ranges. Whereas if you have it in 3.5 meters to infinity, it's only gonna look for stuff that's further away, and it'll help you focus faster if you know that far away stuff is all you're shooting. One more thing I forgot to mention, when you're picking out a lens, I don't recommend looking at photos with the lens. I mean, look at 1 or 2 just to get an idea of what it can do, but don't go onto Flickr and look at photos all taken with the same lens, because it's a great way to make you super biased toward a lens for no good reason. Great photos can be taken with any lens. So I actually didn't really look at any photos except for the couple on these review websites. I just knew that it would really sway my opinion. Anyway, at this point, now that I'm talking all about taking photos, I'm gonna now do the exact same thing I told you not to do and show you all the photos, the cool photos I took with this lens, and hopefully make you biased toward it. So this is probably my favorite photo that I took yesterday, and the reason why I like it is because I just started wandering around Midtown, and I stumbled upon Saks Fifth Avenue, and at this point I knew that my lens had amazing bokeh, and I just wanted to find a child on some father's shoulder, just because you could see them over this entire massive crowd. And what I was letting happen is I'd stand in the middle of a crowd, like a huge crowd coming toward me. I just get on my tippy toes and just try and shoot over them and get a shot, and I pissed off a lot of people. Sometimes you just have to not worry about strangers and do your thing. The lights at Saks Fifth Avenue are really amazing, and I highly encourage you, go ahead and steal my idea. I don't care. These two are of this random couple I found who were taking wedding photos with some other photographer, and because I was so far away, that's the perk of this zoom lens. I love taking candids of people. It's like one of my favorite things in the entire world, and now I can do it so much better because I'm actually really far away, and sometimes they don't notice you, but the thing is, it is a very large, overt lens, so oftentimes people would notice me, and they'd see it pointed right at them, and I also really love that moment where they just like notice you shooting them and they're like, what the heck is this kid doing? I hate this kid. That is the moment I like to photograph. And the beautiful colors behind them is just this massive Christmas tree. I pretty much just wandered around and ended up in some really awesome locations. Total luck. Also, being in New York definitely helps. I stumbled upon these 2 bikers. This is actually, I'd had my lens for all of 5 minutes, and I was just walking around, and then suddenly these 2 bikers zipped by 3 blocks, 3 very long blocks, just manualing their bikes. I couldn't focus it fast enough for some of these shots, which is why some are sort of blurry, and then the ones that aren't are a little bit framed kind of weird. However, I do like this one really tight cropped vertical shot. I had a sort of slow shutter, so the background is blurred. And okay, that's another thing I should talk about. The settings that I use to shoot all these on, I went into full manual mode and dialed it all the way down to f2.8 because I knew that I'd get that nice bokeh effect and that shallow depth of field. And then I put the ISO in auto mode. And the reason why I did that is because I knew the shutter speed and I knew the aperture that I wanted, but I didn't necessarily want to have to change for every single shot. I just wanted to shoot what immediately appeared in front of me and then move on and not have to worry about settings. So having the ISO be automatic was super helpful because I just didn't have to worry about anything. One more at Saks Fifth Avenue. This is a man smoking a cigarette who totally noticed me shooting a photo of him and looked super pissed. And I think I caught that moment all right. Okay, and lastly, a photo of someone eating a pretzel. And that's sort of like my favorite thing, is a beautifully composed, almost like a portrait photo that's actually a candid of someone looking terrible eating a pretzel or picking in their nose or something. I did this in London a lot with the graffiti. Here's a photo I took that I really like. Anyway, to wrap this up, if you want to see more of my photos, I have a bunch of them on my website. I have photo sets, I have a portfolio, I also have prints for sale. So if you're interested in getting a print of one of my shots, definitely check that out. Also, if you're interested in this beautiful, beautiful lens, I'm gonna have a link to buy it down below, as well as links to all of my camera equipment. And feel free to ask me any questions about this lens, about buying lenses, in the comments down below. And I'm gonna try to answer as many as possible, and hopefully other photographers will chime in and respond to comments as well. My goal for any video ever is just to have a good community in the comment section down below, and usually we achieve that. So anyway, be sure to leave a comment about anything, and hopefully we can chat about cameras and greatness and photography and all things good in this world. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see another one of my videos, here is another photo tutorial, and that's it. I also have an Instagram, a Snapchat, and a Spotify playlist with all of my favorite music on it. So if you want to check any of that out, links will be down below. That's actually it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you eventually.